Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 166 of Shacknews Presents Pop Goes the Culture. I'm Donovan Erskine, news editor here at Shacknews, and I'm joined, as always, by Greg Burke, our illustrious head of video. Greg, happy Thursday. How you doing, buddy?
Good. It's Thursday. We're coming back hard. Right into it.
We are coming back hard. Yeah, our first show in a couple weeks. We didn't go last week, but we were here the week before. It's a bit of a lighter week here at Shack News, at least from a staff perspective. We got a lot of people on assignment. We got people on vacations. You just came back from a vacation. We're glad to have you, of course. I woke up last Thursday morning. I was like, oh, I got to do a run of show, and I was like, wait, Greg's like not in California right now.
I could have done it in Santa Cruz because that's where I was. Santa Cruz is great. I'd never been.
It's true. We've floated and danced around the idea of doing one of these remotely many times, but we've never actually done it. The closest we got was the Epic Universe stream, where we walked around the park, which that was one of my favorite streams we've done, although it was dramatically cut short by smartphone battery.
It lasted 2 hours. That's pretty good.
We had a good stream out of that.
Pretty good, yeah.
We had a good stream out of that. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. And hopefully we get to do something like that again in the future. But today we're not going to talk about our theme park experience. We're going to talk about movies. We're going to talk about TV. We're going to talk about everything in between because this is Pop Goes the Culture. And Greg, we have curated a fun run of show here. We're going to get through some news stories, and then we're going to talk about some movies and shows that we watch. We'll do some reviews. And yes, we are going an hour earlier than our usual time because there's a PlayStation State of Play at 5 p.m. Eastern, and I'll be covering it for Shacknews.com. So without further ado, Greg, let's jump into our first story, which is of particular interest to me and probably a lot of the children of the 2000s. A new Night at the Museum movie is in the works. Obviously, the original three, they made a whole trilogy of those things. Night at the Museum movies star Ben Stiller. I don't remember the name of his character, but I believe those movies were directed by Sean Levy, who is now known for like a lot of his Ryan Reynolds stuff. He did Deadpool, Wolverine, Free Guy, a lot of the Stranger Things episodes. They're making a new one, a fourth one, but apparently this will be a new character at a new museum. We won't be continuing the story of Ben Stiller's character, who I believe he's at the New York Museum of maybe U.S. history, natural history might be. I forget because I got a little bit of everything. It might just be world history, but it looks like it'll be a new character at a new museum. The first movie came out in 2006, second one, Battle of the Smithsonian in 2009, and the third one was 5 years later, Secret of the Tomb in 2014. And they grossed over $540 million combined at the box office. Again, starred Will Ferrell. Robin Williams was like a supporting character in these movies. He was Teddy Roosevelt. And obviously, Night at the Museum was a very simple premise. A nighttime security guard at a museum learns that all of the attractions come to life at night. So the T-Rex, the Easter Island heads, the people. Owen Wilson's in this thing as like a tiny cowboy. As a kid, Greg, it was 2006 when the first Night at the Museum came out. I was 8 years old. I love these movies. The first two specifically, because I was 8 and 11 when they came out. I thought they were so fun. I thought that the premise of them was really exciting. It's kind of like riffing on the whole Toy Story thing where it's like, oh, these things come to life when you're not looking at them. As a kid who grew up in Maryland with close proximity to Washington, D.C., we went to a lot of museums, and my childhood was a big deal to my mom that we'd go to like the Smithsonian, the Museum of Natural History, the Air and Space Museum, all that stuff. So watching a movie like this where, everything's coming to life, was fun to me. I like these movies quite a bit. I have a soft spot for them in my deep nostalgia heart. I rewatched all of them over the pandemic with some friends, and I think the first one holds up. The second one was okay, and the third one was not good. But at this point, it has been 2014 was the last one, 11 years since they came out, and they're finally gonna bring this thing back. But Greg, I'm curious about you. Do you have any sort of proxy to these movies at all? Did you give any shit about them when they came out? Did you think they were interesting, or were they not for you?
I mean, the first movie's cute. It's a cute idea, right? It's a cute idea. It's good casting. I feel like Ben Stiller has a lot more range than he does. Like I feel like his big Hollywood movies like this, like he plays like the fish out of water guy who's like over it, like doesn't know what he's doing and is very like bumbling, kind of like like how
usually
Michael
comedy.
Cera, yeah, how like Michael Cera is like stuck playing the awkward kid forever. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
But like Ben Stiller's got range. He's like great in Heavyweights. Like he plays like a psycho camp counselor, and that's great. Like it's a great role for him. But the first movie's cute. I love the first movie. It's a cute idea. Second movie,
Yeah.
I think I barely remember. Like you said, it's one of those just one of those movies that just they make more and they just kind of get worse as they go on, and you kind of just forget about it. I mean, I don't know. The
Yeah.
Legacy sequel, Legacy reboot is a thing now in Hollywood. It's here, right? It's coming.
Yeah, and we've talked about this before, but like we've arrived at now the 21st century, right? Where like things that came out in the 2000s are now old enough to be like rebooted or sequelized or revived, you know. We went through the 70s, 80s, the 90s, spent many years going through the 80s and 90s. But yeah, it's, you know, the first movie came out in 2006. It'll be 20 years old next year. I imagine it'll be 21, 22 years old by the time the next movie comes out. Yeah, it's we're a full generation and some change past Night at the Museum. I will say I'm glad that apparently this is going to be like new characters, new story. It'd be cool if they do bring Ben Stiller back, but I do think it's interesting if it's a new story. Um, Obviously, it's hard to ignore. It'd be pretty easy to make some commentary with a modern Night at the Museum movie, given that museums typically revolve around history and historical figures. And it seems like, especially this decade in particular, a lot of history has fallen under scrutiny, and we kind of live in like the post-truth era, you know, where people just go on in front of audiences of hundreds of thousands of people and say that like very famous historical events never happened or weren't perpetrated by the people we think they are or think they were. So I think that you could tap into a lot of that in a Night at the Museum movie where you literally have museum exhibits coming to life, people and creatures of the past. Now, will they lead into that? Maybe, maybe not. But I think that that'd be a very fascinating avenue
Hmm.
if someone were to take it.
No, I think
Um,
the themes of like people not believing in things, like even though there were evidence or of it, whatever, has been a theme for a
mhm.
while. But it's been very. It's I feel like we're right. You're right in the middle of it, and people never really. I mean, like when you're living history, you don't really realize it till it's already passed. You're like, whoa, I can't believe like we lived through that, right? Like when you're
Yeah,
and I think the same thing, like they did it in Ghostbusters in Frozen Empire. They said that like no one believes that these people exist, even though there was all this evidence that they had existed. Like they're like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man and the Statue of Liberty, but like no one believed it. It's a very weird, and it speaks a lot to our society. What we choose to believe or what we don't want to believe, what's fact, what's
sure.
fiction, because there's just so much information now everywhere. That could be a
True.
good theme, yeah. Like, oh, here's how history really was. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I think it could be really interesting. But yeah, again, as somebody who had nostalgia for those movies, I'm interested to see how that does and what comes of it. Now, Greg, our second story is one that I am deeply fascinated and interested to talk about with you because this is it's a series now because they made a second movie that we've talked about multiple times on this show. Megan 2.0 came out, I believe, 2 weeks ago, and it capital B bombed at the box office. I believe it made $10 million opening weekend. Uh, and I think at this point it's around like 30, and its budget was reported to be like between 15 and 25. It has essentially made like a small fraction of what the original Megan made in theaters because for those who may not remember, when Megan came out in January 2023, it was a sensation. It made 30 million opening weekend, which it now looks like the sequel might not make 30 million in its entire theatrical run. And the original Megan grossed worldwide $180 million. And the sequel that just came out is sitting around 20 to 30. 150 plus $1 million less. It's a bomb. It is going to lose Blumhouse a lot of money. But I think that this news story isn't like, you made a bad movie and that's what you get. It sucks. Like, there's so much more to this, I think, than like, oh, the movie's bad, so we didn't want to see it. Because, and what I think is interesting about this is Jason Blum, who is, lo and behold, the head of Blumhouse, actually kind of opened up and talked about the failure of Megan 2.0, which I thought was really interesting. You don't really get execs, especially this soon after a movie does bad, to kind of jump out and publicly acknowledge it. But they talked about everywhere that this movie went wrong, from Jason Blum to the director. I want to jump into some of the quotes here. So this one is from Jason Blum himself. He said, we all thought Megan was like Superman. We could do anything to her. We could change her genres. We could put her in the summer. We could make her look different. We could turn her from a bad guy into a good guy. And we classically overthought how powerful people's engagement was with her. Um, This was Jason Blum reflecting on the quality of Megan 2.0 and how it did at the box office. He said this on the Town podcast last week. And one, I just want to say kudos to Jason Blum for just like straight up the week after his multi-million dollar movie bombs being like, we fucked that up real bad. We thought we had something that we just simply didn't. But I think it's such an interesting like examination of just the Megan IP, but also the way Hollywood handles modern blockbusters, right? Like 2023, you release Megan, and that movie multiplies its budget at the box office and makes so much money. You have a new IP, talented writer. The runway is yours. You have so much room now to sequelize this thing and make it the next, Chucky, whatever, as people thought it was going to be. And as Jason Blum says, hey, he's back. They overthought it. He said they classically overthought the character, what they could do with it. They tried to get cute. They took it from being a horror movie and they made it this action spy thriller. They turned Megan from a slasher villain to like a reluctant anti-hero, wisecracking and whatnot. And they just completely overestimated like how much people were going to care about that, right? And he says it. We thought she was Superman, where we could just do whatever with her and people would show up anyway. And they were wrong. It was just a gross miscalculation of their own IP. And we've seen studios do this, but usually it's like a gradual thing over time. But I mean, it was just such a instant dime turn, or coin flip from the first movie that did so well to a sequel that didn't just like have diminishing returns. Like that's like franchise killing levels of like bad box office. That's like, hey, we're not touching this IP for several years, if ever again, sort of numbers.
I mean, like I saw when in the trailer, I was like, what is this, and why is it an action movie now? Like I just like
Right.
that's the thing. Like people horror is an interesting genre when it comes to sequels, right? Because it eventually there I don't think there is ever as good as the first origin story, right? Because it's an origin story. It's like the one that catapults the franchises and licenses and IPs and characters, but they get creative in different ways. And we talk about this all the time in the show, but like in horror movies, it's about like deaths, like how creative they get with the deaths. This is like absolutely true in like Freddy Krueger's universe, Nightmare on Elm Street franchise, and the Jason franchise. Like, what can we do that's like really interesting and different with like how characters die? And like that's fun for a while. I mean, we talk about Jason in space, right? That's one of the weirdest ones, but like some of the kills in there are like really interesting, right? So these franchises
The
essentially,
ice we have
yeah,
to
they
try and kill.
devolve into like the kills. It's just about the kills. I mean, I think the Child's Play series even like was like, yeah, it's all about the kills. Like they were like, how can we do this differently? They even, I think, in their later sequels, like make fun of the fact that it's just about the kills. Oh, cool. My
Yeah, I mean,
camera froze again. Fun.
yeah, you died on us again. Yeah, I mean, the Child's Play series specifically was like a big pioneer in visual effects, and practical effects. They did a lot with that puppet because in the original Child's Play, Chucky is like a puppet that like six people were like cramped under a stage moving by hand. So yeah, they got into the weeds there. Even Jason, they did a lot with blood effects and like prosthetics in those movies, especially early on. And that was a big part of the filmmaking. And that stuff has its artistry as well. But I think my issue with Megan, and I'll give the disclaimer that I did not see Megan 2.0. I didn't think it looked good. I thought the first Megan was great. I really liked the original 2023 Megan movie. But it's just like studios, you don't have to overthink this. Horror is so special because it can be complex, but also incredibly simple. Like Megan was interesting because it was like, yes, it had the DNA of Chucky, where it was a killer doll come to life, but it was modern. It had tech. There was commentary on like AI and whatnot. It wasn't like a doll from the '80s. It was like a modern sort of thing you'd see on Amazon or whatnot today. And you could have just made a Megan 2 that was just more slasher movie, and it would have done better than this, and people would have been more interested. You probably could have gotten away with that for, I would guess, three or four sequels until people got tired of it. And they overthought it. They thought that the character was more than it was. Obviously, the first Megan had that virality where she was doing the dances and like the voice lines were going popular. People were using them in TikToks and YouTube shorts and stuff. And it had that like, that zeitgeist appeal to it, and they try to tap into that with the trailer for the new one. You watch the trailer for the new one, and it's like the bitch is back. They've got like the guy in the trailer who's like, I don't care if she killed people, she's a queen. I love Megan. Where it's like, it's all as soon as you become like in on the bit, in on like the joke and stuff as like a multi-million dollar company, it just stops being funny and interesting. People stop caring, right? Like all that stuff was with Megan was funny when it was like dudes on TikTok doing it organically, right? But like as soon as Blumhouse is writing and manufacturing promotional material where characters are saying that, it's like it just becomes like a little corny. Also, nobody was interested in a spy thriller starring Megan. That just didn't make any sense. Now, obviously, there are franchises who have made that jump. Maybe they thought they were about to be Aliens, going from, Alien to Aliens, which is a bit more horror or more actiony in the sequel. T2 Judgment Day, similar vein. Uh, but that's just not what Megan was. It was a slasher movie that outperformed its expectations, and they should have kept it as a slasher movie. And I would assume if they ever make another Megan movie, which at this point it's a large if, because people they're going to be hesitant to touch this IP again. If they make another one, they'll probably go back to horror. You go back to basics, make it a scary movie. I know it's a crazy idea that the sequel to your scary movie should still be scary, but yeah, uh, this is a lesson for Blumhouse that I hope they take the the right messages from.
They just don't change the genre. Like it's so hard to do the genre, and like we talk about it all the time on the show too. But it's like out of the box thinking, right? Horror is done on a usually a small budget, right? And so they have all these limitations, have to get creative with things, and when the box is bigger and you have less problems, yeah, sure, we can do a giant scene where she flies in a glide suit. Like, why? Like, why would you ever do? Because you have the budget for it. Okay, I was like, that's big budgets destroy creativity. Creativity works best when you're in a box. And that's absolutely true. Like we Jaws, Spielberg said that too. Like when the shark doesn't work, you have to make a executive decision on how to make it work, and the movie's better for it, right? And if Spielberg had the budget for Jaws, like he did for these Indiana Jones sequels, it would have been a not a terrible movie, but it would have been not as good, right? If he was just leaned into CGI sharks the whole movie, right? It would have been very different. You got to think within the box. Budget got too big, creativity got too big.
Way
Very
too
weird
lofty
sequel.
ambitions for this. And yeah, Denny makes a good point. He said this they thought this was going to be a TikTok hit. They did. They thought they were just going to go viral again. And he says this would have been okay for Megan 6.0 on Tubi. That's a good point. This feels like the trailer for this, it just feels like the like seventh movie in a franchise that like has gone on for so long that it's like not even getting theatrical releases anymore. It's like direct to DVD.
Oh, I
Like at the end
remember,
of
yeah,
that
the
trailer,
direct to DVD. Kids won't know that
yeah.
now, but yeah, even you're old enough to know the
If
direct to DVD ones, which always
if
sucked. You
it's you expect the end of this trailer to be like Megan 7, and then there's like some weird like subtitle because that's the vibe it gives. It's like, oh man, remember that like Halloween sequel that didn't even have Michael Myers? Like it's that kind of vibe to it. But it's the second one. It's part two. This was such an easy follow up, and they got the cast back. They had Violet McGraw, they had Allison Williams, they got the writer back. It was like they put the ball in a tee and they handed them a baseball bat, and they were like, just knock that shit out the park. And they took the bat, flipped it upside down, did a handstand, was like, watch me do it with my feet, and they just missed entirely and swung the bat and like twisted their ankle or something. And it's like, what were you doing? Like
Everyone's on
it was
cocaine. They're counting the
it was right.
residuals
Oh
from the first
Jesus.
Megan. They think this is great. We can't do anything wrong, and then they just like it reminds me a lot of. Did you ever see Halloween 3: Season of the Witch?
That was I alluded to that when I said remember the Halloween that didn't have Michael
Yeah,
Myers. Yeah, that's the
yeah.
one.
Oh,
That's
sorry.
that's
Yeah, I didn't hear
yeah, that's
that
the
yet.
third one.
Really
Yeah,
weird.
that's the one.
Like
I do
just a
remember that.
really weird. Like someone got bored and was like, "I really got to be different. I want to be different. I'm so bored. I don't want to write the same tropes." But it's too late.
That
Like I was
movie
telling
has
Nicole
its
this.
defenders.
Wait, what? I'm sorry.
So that movie has its defenders.
It
Season of the
does, but
Witch.
it's the same thing. It's there's movies have been made for so long now. And there's been so many of them that it's impossible to avoid tropes, and like you just have to try to tell them slightly differently. So whenever I see a movie like this film, like okay, like what did it do wrong? It's sometimes they don't do anything wrong, but like what did it do wrong? It didn't lean into any trope. It just kind of did this weird thing. It went from horror to action. I think that was you talked about that before, but it's just the genre switch was from horror to action was not what people wanted or what they expected. So
Yeah, it's a little confusing too because like movies like Focus Group, they do test screenings way before we ever see these movies. I'm just surprised that nowhere like there was no focus group or no audience that like at some point in the process was like, oh, this is not what we want for Megan 2. Or maybe they did and it was just too late to
it's
change it,
too
right? Because
late. It's all but by the time you're
you can only
screening
edit a
that,
movie so much. Yeah.
yeah, by the time you're screening it to like a test audience, it's too late, man. The movie's 90% done. Like you can't reshoot the
Right.
whole thing. Like so that was it. So they just had to like kind of gulp down and deal with it. Although like that brings up an interesting story about Elio, about the test screenings for
Oh
that
yeah.
stuff because they did that a little earlier. and they actually did make some major changes to the movie. If I could find that article, I
Yeah,
was
they
reading.
took out the queer themes. I saw that. They're
Yeah,
going on that with
so
Disney.
that's
They're like really on a
interesting.
streak with that stuff.
So that's so like obviously like I've maybe but that might be easier to do in an animated movie than the live action one. I don't know, but like yeah, so they changed a lot of that. So and it still
I mean, at
didn't
this
help it.
point, I'm just convinced that Disney hates Pixar and wants that studio to die or to break them up or something because they just don't even promote their movies. I have friends who love movies who go to the theater with me at least once a month, and they didn't know there was a new Pixar movie. In like 2010, could you fathom not knowing there was a new Pixar movie? Like that was insane. Like imagine Ratatouille coming out and being on its third week in the box office and people being like, "Oh, there's a new Pixar movie out." Like it was they were like a cultural moment every time they made a movie. And now I get it. They've made some less than perfect movies along the way, but it's like the promotion for this movie has been like non-existent. Um, it's a shame, and they've been doing them like that since the pandemic. They did it to Turning Red. They've been doing it for a while. It's that baseball TV show they did. Uh, yeah, it's strange the way they've handled that studio has been far less than ideal, I'd say. But
People want the Toy
yeah,
Stories, right? People want the Toy Stories. People want the Inside Out sequels. They want that stuff. I mean, that's just what it is. I think it's harder to sell an original idea. And it is. It totally is. It really is hard to sell an original idea, especially when they keep flopping. I think Pixar's had for every like I want to say for every major success movie they've had, like outside of their sequels, they've had like three bad ones, right? Dinosaur was like I think got mixed reviews and like wasn't that great. I remember seeing it. It wasn't terrible. It was just like meh. And then you had Elio, and then you had Turning Red again, but Turning Red like got good reviews, but just no one
I like
saw it.
Turning Red.
You know what I mean? Like, I mean that's the thing, and it just
Yeah,
becomes
they dumped it on Disney Plus. Elemental I liked, which I think Elemental started off poorly at the box office and had legs. I think it, and by the time it was all said and done, I think Elemental did fine. But that was another one that like came out and like again, people didn't know that movie existed. Even as I say Elemental, somebody somewhere heard that and was like, "What?" Uh, yeah, I don't know. I think that there are sides to it because yes, people like sequels and stuff, but like Once Upon a Time, like The Incredibles was an original movie when it came out. Like Toy Story was original when it came out. Monsters Inc. was original when it came out. Before those movies had sequels. So I mean, Coco. It was 2017 at this point. Did very well. That was an original one. But they just, I think it comes down to marketing and promotion. People quite literally don't know these movies exist, and if they do know they exist, they don't know why they should care. Because Disney's usually just like, oh yeah, this exists too, by the way,
well, it was funny
and
because
that's about it.
the Red Letter Media guys you don't like, they were talking about how
Yeah,
there
they're
was like a
dicks.
survey they did where like people under the age of 25 um like to watch vertical video. They like to watch vertical video. They want to be so like the joke that I made to Nicole over break was like, I'll watch the Superman James Gunn Superman movie in 1 minute increments on YouTube Shorts over the next 6 months. Like that's how I'll see the movie.
I'm
Like
going to see that tonight. Me and my brother right after
but
this,
like
baby.
and I think that's the hard thing, right? Is as people get older, like my dad doesn't want to go to the movies anymore, right? He just stays at home and doesn't want to go out. And like Nicole and I, we stay at home. Usually we stay at home but that's because our theater sucks. If our theater was better, we'd probably go see a little bit more
Sure.
movies, but like we don't go. And like so like it becomes almost like movie theater goers is like a subculture, right? Like you want to go to the movies because you enjoy going to the movies. But I think that is shrinking, is getting smaller, right? And I think the target and why Lilo and Stitch 1 did so well is because you have a combination of nostalgia and family friendly movies where people take their kids to go see a movie they enjoyed as a kid, and then it just rolls. Ghostbusters is in that category too. Like you don't think parents took their 8-year-old to go see Ghostbusters Afterlife, right? Which is a family friendly movie. Like that's the key. I think is the big issue. And the problem with things like Elio and Megan 2.0 is they're not family like Megan's not family friendly. It's for an older audience. It's for that younger audience that wants to stay home watch it on streaming or in vertical video. And then Elio, it's just there's no nostalgia. It's a family movie with no nostalgia. There's no nostalgia factor. There's no attached IP that people are excited about or familiar with, like Lilo and Stitch, and that's why Lilo and Stitch 2 got greenlit instantaneously. And I remember the sequels, like the sequels, Disney sequels back in the day were just straight to DVD, and they always looked like they were less impressive, and you just kind of watched them and forgot about them. They were on the bargain bin shelf,
I
right?
like Stitch 2, Stitch has a glitch,
Yeah, I don't
and
remember that. I
the
remember seeing
spin-off
it.
TV show.
I remember nothing, but they did three Little Mermaid sequels. They did three Aladdin sequels, like and arguably, like you said, some of the Aladdin one, like some of them are good. Like I think the second Aladdin one is good. Like the
They
Return of
made a bunch of
Jafar.
Lion Kings.
Yeah, they made a bunch of Lion King prequels and sequels, and they were like weird. Like they just get weird. They don't have the budget, right? They have a fraction of the budget that the original one had, and they kind of just come out, make a little bit of money, and go away. I mean, I don't know. I do think the movie industry is in trouble, like in general. I think that we're still in that shift, that dynamic shift range. We're in between second place and 18th place in Mario Kart with movie theaters, right? They just demolished Ossis Theater in Canton, Ohio, right? Uh, like it came back, people wanted to see movies again, and then they kind of did the thing, and now we're going back to the we'll wait for streaming. Like that's the big thing. It's just I don't think people figured it out. But like once in a while, like you said, movies make hundreds of millions of dollars. Jurassic World Rebirth, hundreds of millions of
Well,
dollars,
I'm
right?
glad you said
Like
that. Yeah, because we're gonna talk about a movie on the opposite end of the spectrum
yeah,
in two news stories. Yeah, but it's cautionary tale. I do to loop it back to Megan. I do think it was very uh commendable. I'll say that Jason Blum went on there and just straight up talked about why it failed. I think that's interesting. I would love to hear from more executives candidly about why their movies fail and what caused them. And I think it's pretty accurate what he says here about how they just completely overthought the movie and they misunderstood what their own IP was. I think a lot of studios fall victim to that as well, but I don't think any of them openly admit it. Okay, our next story is going to be some trailer reactions, but before we get into that, I want to remind people to follow the stream, hit that heart, hit the notification bell so that you're made aware every single time we go live here on the Shacknews Twitch channel. Consider donating to our Tiltify campaign. We are still raising money for Trans Lifeline. And of course, follow us all around the internet. We're on x.com at Shack News. We're on Instagram at Shack News Media, Facebook, Shack News, YouTube. We've got one, two, three channels. Greg, what's going on over on the YouTubes as of late?
uh, I'm focusing on our Summer Games Fest shorts right now. Like shorts are performing every widescreen, almost every widescreen video we do on the Shack News Interviews channel. So you'll be presented to those in your cell phone, just going through the newsfeed, hopefully. And then Shack News' main channel is a lot of Donkey Kong stuff is up there. I don't know what I'm allowed to say, so that's all I'll say. There's a lot of Donkey Kong stuff. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 plus 4 came out. I know Asif's making more content on that because he's a Tony Hawk Pro Skater like fan. He loves that series, so he's doing a lot of stuff there. And of course, that's when you're this week in Switch 2. You can talk about games coming out on Switch 2. There's a big game coming out in what, 4 days? The Donkey Kong Games comes out in 4 or 5 days. Huge. That's going to be a huge game that we're going to be covering. So you can come to us for guides, video content, shorts. There'll be a bunch of fun stuff we'll put up, I'm sure, whenever the embargo lifts. I'm not even sure when it is, which is probably a good thing. But yeah, lots of stuff going on those channels. Check them out. Well, you know what? You'll just be in the shorts feed absorbing them. So you'll see us in the shorts feed.
We'll find you.
Yeah, we'll find you. You don't have to come to us anymore. We'll just go to you.
Denny, to answer your question between Until Dawn or Megan 2.0 being the bigger flop, I think it's got to definitely be Megan 2.0. So the numbers on Until Dawn, its worldwide box office total is $53 million. It reportedly had a budget of $15 million. Not the best outcome. Definitely want more, but it's like you're looking at north of even at that point. Like you've probably made a few dollars back. Not enough that they're going to sequelize this thing. But I think at the very least, Until Dawn was not the sequel to a movie that made $180 million on a $10 million budget, and B, not the biggest IP. I mean, Until Dawn was like a beloved, popular video game. Obviously, nobody is a bigger supermassive games fan than I am, but Until Dawn was like it's not like it wasn't like a GTA movie or a Call of Duty movie. I think more so Until Dawn, it was just disappointing. Like I think with that, it was just more so like maybe more fan disappointment. I think if you could measure the collective sadness of gamers, there's probably more sad fans of the video game Until Dawn than fans of Megan that really wanted Megan 2.0 to be good. Uh, but yeah, I think financially though, I think it's definitively it's got to be Megan 2.0.
Well,
That one. What's up?
No, breaking news. I mean, the breakout that I thought at Summer Games Fest with Supermassive Games is they had absolutely nothing to do with the movie at all. Nothing. They didn't have. There was no consulting.
You said that's what you thought?
Approving. No, that's what he said. He said it was a Sony property and they did their thing. That's what he said.
Oh.
They were not involved at all. Like at all. Like in any way, shape, or form. And I'm like, wow, look at that. The people who created your games, you didn't involve them at all, and it did mediocre. Did okay, right? But like it's also Sony, so there's no. It's still not available on streaming, no matter where. Like there's no like Sony movies suck because they never
rent it for $3. Support movies.
$3. Is it $2.99 to rent?
Probably get on Amazon Prime for a few bucks. Uh, yeah. So I mean, we talked about that a lot, though, Greg. Right? Where it's like, at the end of the day, that's the outcome when you make something for a big company. Like PlayStation Studios published Until Dawn. They just did. They did. They paid them to make it. They funded the development of it. They put money in the pockets of the people that work at that studio in exchange for the game and this IP. And as a result, it's Sony's IP to do what they want with it. If they want to put
Yep.
them in PlayStation Battle Royale All Stars and have them all run around and fight each other, like they can. They just can. And it's up to them if they feel like consulting Supermassive about it or not. And in this case, they chose not to involve them in it at all. Yeah, I would have loved to have seen them involved in it, but I think that Supermassive will be all right. I think they'll be all right. They got a lot of other what's the term, irons in the fire. I really liked what I played of what's the goddamn called, Directive 8020
Directive
at Summer
8020,
Game
yeah.
Fest. They did the Query, which I think is probably just as good as Until Dawn, maybe a little better from a technical standpoint. That was published by 2K Games, so I don't know. We'll see if 2K Games decides to include them. But yeah. Then he said, so they said, fuck it, we'll get a decent director and give them a script where he can't use anything from the game. For the most part, yeah. Although the movie did have the Wendigos and the killer mask, but it was more so like a reference rather than a proper adaptation of that material. Um, let's see. But we want to jump into some trailers here. Greg, I have two trailers that once we've got your gorgeous, lovely face back on here, we can jump into. But I want to look at the trailers for The Running Man, directed by Edgar Frickin' Wright, starring Glenn Powell, and then a trailer for Twisted Metal Season 2, which Greg will have to tell us the verdict on that one because he's the only person who watched Season 1. Greg, how about we do a little Running Manning?
Yeah. I'm sorry. I have to keep unplugging my camera like every 3 seconds when it does this. It's got to be. I know. I think I found the problem. I had to fix it on my computer like a couple months ago, and I think I might have plugged it into a 2.0 slot instead of the 3.0. So that may be the problem. I'll have to do that.
That'll
afterwards.
do it.
But
yeah, that'll do it.
Yeah, let's watch the Running Man trailer. So I'll transfer this, and we'll go 3, 2, 1, and I'll go 3, 2, 1, and then say go, and we'll hit play on go. Ready? Okay. So 3, 2, 1, go.
Stop filming me!
Oh, trailer starts now because you can't just start a trailer anymore. You gotta let people know it's starting now.
Now. You're
Right
now
now.
watching.
35. Married, one child, in medical crisis.
We need money for a doctor now.
Ben, watch us up.
Employment status,
she was in this.
blacklisted. But there's still a way out for you.
Are you a fan of the original Running Man, Greg?
Yeah, I think everyone was at the time. It's an Arnold movie in the very 80s. It's based on, I do believe it's based on a book.
Stephen King.
Welcome to the Running Man.
I'm right sometimes.
As all things are.
People on these games
Yeah.
never come back.
I mean, you could just guess that something's a Stephen King adaptation and you'll be right like 1 out of 5 times.
Right.
Right, but the trailer's
Why
so
you can win
different.
this
The
game.
movie's so different. It looks already from
Survive
the
30
other
days.
movie. I wonder if like how
Entire
much
nation.
is actually.
I mean, that's
in the
good,
book and
right?
How much they changed? I don't know.
And get your family out of Slumside for good.
I just mean it's good that it's like the same movie, right? So we complain about when they reboot stuff. It's just the same thing over again.
And burn this building
Oh, Jesus.
down. I promise.
That's the spirit.
It's, I think Josh Brolin.
It's a huge cast. Yeah.
Put up with no bullshit.
I'm doing this great. Oh, there you go, Stephen King.
Him.
I like the music.
Yeah, they've got a huge cast.
Yeah, William H. Macy.
Stop filming me.
Have you ever wondered if this game is rigged?
Hey, we were just talking about Michael Cera.
Guess we'll find out.
I mean, he's gonna play an awkward guy. I guarantee it.
You might be moving up too fast.
I mean, he's with Edgar Wright again, so Scott Pilgrim reunion.
Hey, buddy. You're on Freebie.
That's fun. It's like a oneer.
I got a grenade.
They cheat a lot in those,
Back at you.
and I tell them. Well,
That's all right.
They cheated.
Nothing wrong with that.
I'm still here. You shit eaters.
I mean, definitely interesting. It's definitely different.
I like
than
this
the
theme.
80s one. I don't know. I've never read the books. I don't know how either of these
Sure.
compare to the book.
Are you crazy?
Yeah, written also. Yeah, Edgar Wright also in the script there. Yeah, so yeah, I mean, it's definitely a much more. I don't want to say lighthearted because people are still trying to kill him and are shooting at him, but it is definitely a much more energetic, upbeat tone than the original Arnold Schwarzenegger Running Man. But I mean, this is an Edgar Wright movie, baby. Like Edgar Wright doesn't make movies that aren't high kinetic energy, loud, fast moving films. You know, obviously Baby Driver, one of my favorite movies. Scott Pilgrim, Last Night in Soho is probably I guess the closest he's gotten to conventional over the last decade. But it's what he does. He does these movies, and music is always so integral to the stuff he does. I have to say, I like the theme. Whatever that like dun 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 dun, dun that was good. I like the title theme that they had at the end and earlier on in the trailer. Definitely a little star studded. We got Coleman Domingo there as like the game show host. Obviously, The Running Man is about the entire nation hunting one guy down. I think he gets like 20 million if he survives, and people get a reward if they kill him. So he's like on a worldwide manhunt. He's got to survive for a month. Obviously, very fun, very Stephen King premise. He loves his dystopian uh, stories and whatnot. But I don't know. I thought that looks interesting. I like Lynn Powell a lot, and I think Edgar Wright doesn't really make bad movies ever. So I'm interested in that.
He did Shaun of the Dead, right? He did Shaun of the Dead, and he
He
did.
did.
Yeah, I mean, he has an editor.
Hot
I want to say
Fuzz.
Alice. Oh, I would say it's Alice. He has an editor that he uses in all of his stuff, and the editing is always really cool. Like the editing is like
Very,
one
yeah.
of the standout things about the movies that I like enjoy when I go
Yep.
see his movies. 'Cause I'm like, wow, this editing is like so good. It's just
Mhm.
like it's rare that the editing like has its own style and speaks, right? It's usually very safe or very straightforward, but this one it has a style. This looks a lot different from the 80s one that I've seen. Like in the 80s ones, like it's not people, like it's not the society hunting them, it's specific hunters with specific gimmicks in a town of I think downtown LA or New York of like a dilapidated it was like a zone, like a war zone. They had some kind of war there, and there was some they didn't go out in the public, and it wasn't the public. Again, I don't know if that was true to the book or this is true to the book. I've never read it. So I'm not sure. I do miss that though, because part of the fun stuff about the 80s one was that like they had these hunters that were very gimmicky. One was like on Sub-Zero was on ice skates and used like hockey things that were sharpened, and they had Buzzsaw who used chainsaw on motorcycles. They had Firefly with like a flamethrower in a pack. So like I mean, I don't know. That was kind of cool having those. I think they call them the hunters.
Mhm.
That doesn't seem to be here, which kind of sucks. That's like one of the cool things about the original one. But also the original one is like super 80s tastic. So like that's the big thing. The music, like the themes, everything is very 80s ish. The hair, like you know, all the dancers. You just can tell it's an 80s movie. I mean, I'm interested. I don't know if I'll see it in theaters. I'll probably wait for it streaming, but that's what I do, right?
Sure. Okay, so this is interesting. I got some details for you here. So the Running Man book came out in 1982. It's one of those that Stephen King actually published under a different name, Richard Bachman, when he was doing that because he wanted to see if people just bought his books for his name. So he started writing them under a different name. Funnily enough, the novel The Running Man takes place in the distant future in the year 2025. So there you go. This is very timely. I'm sure the studio thought it was very cheeky and cute that they could get this movie out in 2025. Obviously, that was 40 plus years ago that this book came out. But here's the book synopsis, Greg. The story follows protagonist Ben Richards as he participates in the reality show The Running Man, in which contestants win money by evading a team of hitmen sent to kill them. So that's like the top of the line
So
premise.
based on that synopsis, I would say that the 80s movie is probably a little truer to the book than this one.
Yeah, the name or the premise of this movie, this news adaptation, a game show called The Running Man has people chased by murderous hunters across the world to win money. So it seems like there are still hunters there, going on sort of thing. But yeah, I don't know. I haven't actually read The Running Man, so I can't speak to the nuances of the plot synopsis. But I think that this looks fun and interesting. I think that Glenn Powell is really charming. He's a good everyman. He's someone you can root for in whatever he's doing. So they're obviously setting up the thing with him and his wife needing money and whatnot for their child. He's going to be running for his life this entire movie, obviously.
See, that's the weird thing when we talk about like we talk about legacy sequels, right, or reboots, but like when your foundation is already a book and the movie was based on a book, books can be open interpretation in terms of like characters, stuff that's cut out, you know what I mean, like certain way, you know, like certain things, like even a character's like description of how they look can be like altered based on perspective of how you read the book. And I feel like they changed so much in this to be so different from the 80s one. And I don't know, like I said, it's one of those things like this isn't a reboot, right? You're just making another movie based on a book that's already existed, right? Which was originally based on a movie. That's like, you know, it's based on the book, not the movie in the 80s. But if the movie in the 80s was truer to the book than this one, why change it so much? That's what I mean. It's a weird thing, right? The whole like it's Running Man for a new generation is what all these studios like to say. So and plus it's tough because like Arnold was like arguably huge at that time, coming off a Terminator. You know what I mean? Pre T2, post Terminator, and he was like becoming this huge thing. And he's like the only. There were a couple other big name actors, but he's like the only. There was like an actual real wrestler in it too. Another bodybuilder that he had, Jesse Ventura, I think's in it, who worked with him on Predator. So like there was a lot of these like similarities of like this action stuff. I mean I don't know. I mean it looks fine. I just yeah man, soft reboots weird if you change so much from the book.
But I feel like you're just gonna kill them either way, because if they do the movie and it looks just like the original one but with a different actor, then you're gonna be like, we didn't need this. We already have the Arnold Schwarzenegger one. When they change 2 months and it's like this isn't the source material anymore. It's an adaptation that they're adapting it. I mean, I think that to agree with Denny in the chat, Coleman Domingo, glad to see him in here. He's like the host. It looks like. He's great at everything he does. He looks fun. I like his little yelling there. He's like, this is America. I think this looks interesting. Obviously, Stephen King at this point, I'm pretty sure at least one Stephen King adaptation comes out every year. We're about to get The Long Walk. We're getting 2 this year. The Long Walk is coming out soon, and also The Running Man. So we're getting at least 2 this calendar year. Obviously, again, Glenn Powell's been on a bit of a tear. Doing, I think it started with him kind of in Top Gun Maverick. He was in that one. Then he did Hitman. He did Twisters. He did Anyone But You with Sydney Sweeney, which did very good, especially for a rom-com. Now he's doing The Running Man. Again, I think the Edgar Wright of it all is very interesting. Again, if you want to bet my money, I don't think Edgar Wright makes bad movies ever at all. So I'm going to lean on the side of this will probably be good at the very least. But interesting.
I didn't like by Edgar Wright that I've seen.
A lot of dystopian movies in that catalog of Stephen King's there. He's an interesting brain.
I think the only thing that I've seen of his that was like weird that I didn't like it was just because it was different. I think it was At World's End. Like it's an interesting movie, but it's just a little too British for me maybe.
Oi, governor. Yeah, he's from Poole himself, from England, so. He's got a good amount of those kind of movies. In fact, I think it's interesting. I think The Running Man will be his first American movie since Baby Driver. Baby Driver was American, but Last Night in Soho was obviously in London town. Yeah.
It's just cool because like you see like he starts out his career on he's like you do a bunch of like little shorts in college or whatever, and then like you get a couple like things in TV, and then like it's like once you hit Shaun of the Dead, it's like off. Like that's the pivotal point of his career, Shaun of the Dead, and then he gets to do Hot Fuzz, and then he does.
I love Hot Fuzz.
Something for Grindhouse. He did Scott Pilgrim, then he did Don't, then he did World's End, then he did like Baby Driver, and like that movie. You can always trace usually an actor or a writer or producer or director to like one film that just makes them explode, like, and I think the Shaun of the Dead was the one.
Yeah, I mean that's a filmmaker's filmmaker right there, baby.
Yeah, 2004 was Shaun of the Dead. Wow, 21 years old.
Long time ago, Greg. Long time ago. But that's not the only trailer for us to watch. Let's look at the trailer for Twisted Metal Season 2. This trailer is exactly 2 minutes long. Look at that. Let me know. Give us a countdown.
All right, 3, 2, 1, go. Trailer starts now.
Calypso.
Peacock original.
And I'm hosting
they didn't do
a
it.
tournament. If you win, I will grant you a single wish.
Cowabunga, motherfucker. It's time for the outsiders to get their fair share.
If we win, we can wish to bring down all the walls.
Oh wow, is this needle drop what I think it is?
system, the walls, all of it.
Oh, girl.
Here I come! Here I go!
Prepare for battle in 10, 9.
I just love this video.
You make a run at me, I will end you. Feel me?
Oh, that's excellent.
We knew Calypso wasn't gonna make it easy on us. That's what makes your wish worth it. Get out the way. It's all happening.
Get out the way.
It's all happening.
There you go.
Welcome to Twisted Metal.
Like, that looks great, but like, why was the first season like that? That should have been the first. You call this
We're
series
talking about
Twisted
season 2.
Metal. And like the
Move
first
on,
season
we're on the
didn't
season
even
2.
mention Twisted Metal.
Well, that's why you got season 2. It's here. They got it. They're doing it.
Yeah, but it's just, I mean, it's just weird. I did just, I mean, like, this looks great, but like, this should have been the first season because the first season was just very weird.
We're not talking about season 1. We're not talking about season 1. Season 2. Do you think season 2 looks good?
Yeah, because it's the tournament. It's what I wanted to see.
Awesome. I mean, shout out to Ludacris for the move, bitch, get out the way needle drop. That was so random, but I guess works for Twisted Metal.
Hold on.
This
they
looks
had
so
all
silly.
The players here. Let's pause it and go through all the fighters. Oh, he's still John, so he's not Roadkill yet. Quiet. Okay, that's not. Those are 2 original characters. Sweet Tooth, STFU's new, I think. Axel's from Twisted Metal 2. Mr. Grimm's from Twisted Metal.
Out of my way!
Yeah.
Ravens.
This
from
looks very.
I don't know, Vermin.
This looks very zany and silly. Oh yeah, I'm going through. I mean,
Oh, Harold's. I
What
think
is it?
Harold's a joke. I think from the first movie, the paper bag or something that he carried. I don't remember.
yeah.
Oh, that's but like it's just weird. They've made 4 Twisted Metals, 5 if you can Twisted Metal or Black, and there's so many characters you can use, and you opt for original ones is a little weird to me.
Right.
That's just, I mean, like that's the only thing that bugs me. Is like you have these whole that was my criticism the first.
They got a Sweet Tooth in there.
Yeah, you have all these colorful characters that have this really cool like backstory or power or like kind of a look aesthetic to them, and like you opt for original ones. And I think it's that stamp. They want to put their own stamp on it, right? You know.
Maybe the argument is nobody can name 5 Twisted Metal characters, so it doesn't matter.
Well, I mean, I can't.
Sorry, that was mean. But yeah, I mean, hey, look, we talk all the time about, especially on streaming, how nothing gets to a season 2. Netflix cancels fucking everything. All these streaming services pull the plug on everything that isn't like a smash hit or the next Stranger Things. So good on Twisted Metal for getting a season 2. As one of the YouTube comments reminds me, season 1 was Emmy nominated for stunt choreography, which good for them. Good for Anthony Mackie having a star vehicle, pun intended. This looks, like Danny said in the chat, ridiculous. I think that, and this is gonna sound mean, but I'm not trying to be mean. There's low stakes. There's a low bar. You can't really piss off that many people by that much by this being good or bad. So have fun with it. I mean, I guess just go crazy, do whatever the hell. And it doesn't look like they're trying to make it super serious or reserve. It seems like they're just doing Twisted Metal. They're just twisting that metal, baby. They're just getting
it's
wacky and weird.
ridiculous. I mean, it's a ridiculous series, ridiculous premise, but like you have to, like world building is very important to me, and I felt that it wasn't done. I guess it just wasn't done the way I would have done a Twisted Metal post-apocalyptic world, like more, I don't know, more dire, a little less color, a little more. It's Sean Levy. You can be funny, that's fine, but like it's a very weird world. And like they did magic. They had magic in it a little bit, but it wasn't. It's just very weird. It's one of those things. But I guess it's one of those things where it's like in Mortal Kombat in 1993. It was like, why aren't they throwing fireballs? Because it looks ridiculous. You know what I mean? Like in the live action movie. I don't know. I mean, I'll watch it because I'm a fan of. I mean, I grew up with that series. It was like the reason I have hundreds of hours in Twisted Metal 2. Like that was
Holy.
a game we just played all the time. I love the soundtrack.
Well, Greg,
there's actually a game called Speed Freaks. and I was literally playing that game over winter break in early access to the Twisted Metal 2 soundtrack because that's what it was. Like it's just a
Nice.
40K Twisted Metal, which is really, I was playing that game a lot. So I mean, I don't know, I'll watch this. I mean, I'll watch it. I'll give it a chance. I'll give anything on streaming a chance, right? So
It's a great thing about streaming, low barrier to entry. Good news for you, Greg. This will be out July 31st.
there you
You
go.
only
So
gotta wait
a little over 20
few
days,
weeks.
a little over under 19
Yeah.
days, maybe 31 days in July, 21 days. Yeah.
Soon TM. Well, there you go, folks. For the Twisted Metal community, I hope this show goes on for at least 10 seasons.
But they've already messed up. They've already messed up Lord Donovan because Axel is Axel's supposed to be in his contraption as a punishment, and he can't get out of it. So like that.
Maybe that happens during this season.
Maybe.
Maybe he gets punished in like episode 3, and they're like, "You're never getting out of that Axel, buddy. Good luck." Maybe that's where that'll
Kai? No, it's not. Okay, that was the guy. You know what I'm talking about? A Stingray. I thought it was Stingray, the STFU guy.
I don't know. Unfortunately, I've never seen Cobra Kai, but he has a familiar looking face. So
what? How dare you?
Just manually do the what?
I lost all my sound bites. Everything crashed.
It's gone. It's all gone. That's all right.
My thing crashed again too.
Well, get ready to unplug and replug, buddy. I'm going to get into our final news story here, Greg, which I very cleverly placed at the end of our run of show because this is going to lead right into our review segment, baby. Jurassic World Rebirth. For the people counting at home, the 7th movie in the Jurassic Park/World franchise, which started 32 years ago in 1993, came out last weekend, over the holiday weekend, which this was a perfect storm of big IP blockbuster and holiday weekend summer release. This thing made, let me get my number right, I think $300 million in its opening weekend. It made like, I think the projections were like, oh, this movie's going to make a shit ton of money. And then it made even more somehow. It was like globally even bigger than they thought. It made like $150 million in just the United States opening weekend. It did the rest of its work overseas. Directed by Gareth Edwards, who did The Creator. He did Rogue One. He did the first modern American Godzilla movie. He did the 2014 Godzilla. He's done a lot of IP stuff at this point. Yeah, Gareth Edwards directed this. It's a new cast. We're no longer doing the Chris Evans, Bryce Dallas Howard, or even the throwback cast. There's no Sam Neill, Laura Dern in this one either. Instead, we've got Scarlett Johansson, got Mahershala Ali, got Jonathan Bailey, and this movie, the reviews are on par with the other Jurassic World movies, and by on par, I mean not good. They're mostly negative. If you care about Rotten Tomato score, it's certified rotten. But this one had a bigger opening weekend than I think the last couple Jurassic movies, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, just a massive global opening for this franchise, which this has kind of been the identity of this series for a while now, that a new Jurassic movie comes out. It's a sequel, obviously. The reviews are at best lukewarm, at worst negative. And then it just makes more money than everything else that year. And it just devours the box office because boy, do we as human beings love dinosaur movies. And for some reason, these are the only guys making them. So obviously, as Universal, this is at this point their crown jewel IP. And is making a shit ton of movie. As you could say, it crunched into the box office. You could say they hatched a new era, if you write for the Hollywood Reporter. Yeah, Jurassic is still a top earner at the box office. At this point, this franchise has made billions of dollars.
It goes on vacation. I found the article, but like I think they were kind of nervous that it wasn't going to do well, like originally. Which is funny.
You think so?
When you show me that, because I hadn't checked it since I read the article, which I have up on the screen right here. But like I remember reading this, I was like, oh, maybe it might flop, and then just kind of going on. I didn't realize it was still making a shit ton of money. But I think wasn't the majority of that in overseas in the China tentpole that they do. So
majority, no, not the majority.
Oh no, this one domestic. Interesting. Yeah. So like I mean,
they always do big here. It's an American franchise. They do big here and overseas. That's why they're so big, because they do big both. It's not like an international audience making up for it. It did 50 plus million in just America, and then 300 globally.
Yeah, I mean, if the article that I read was just basically they're you don't know if a movie's going to do well. Essentially, nobody knows that a movie's going to
Sure.
do well.
Yeah,
That's
you never
just the
do.
thing. So
I mean, look at Megan. They thought they had a surefire hit in Megan, and it flopped. So yeah. But I think there are a couple interesting distinctions, right, between Megan and Jurassic. Obviously, the original Megan is not close to the cultural phenomenon that Jurassic is. It's impossible to overstate the way that the Jurassic movies, specifically Jurassic Park, changed culture, not just movies, but culture. These movies have pretty much defined how we as a race of creatures view dinosaurs, right? Like when you imagine what a T-Rex looks like in your head, you do not think of the illustration at the Museum of Natural History. You think of the T-Rex in Jurassic Park breaking through the paddock. That's like what the image of a T-Rex in your mind is, or a Velociraptor, or a Dilophosaurus, a Brontosaurus, Triceratops, Pterodactyl. Like they have informed us as a people how we look at these movies, obviously, which people may argue the legitimacy of that. I know a lot of the historians, paleontologists will argue that dinosaurs are very different. That is true.
Oh yeah,
But
they were wrong. Like I remember
it
reading
has
about that in a magazine that like the raptors were all wrong. Like they're supposed to have feathers and they like that kind of stuff.
hey,
Yeah.
guess what? Guess what? In Jurassic World Dominion, they gave you raptors with fucking feathers all over them, and you fuckers hated it anyway. So
There you
maybe
go.
you never really cared about that to begin with. But these are movies that people care about. Like people are interested in. They go see them. This movie, I don't even know, did a midnight release. Like they were selling 12:01 a.m. screenings to this movie. It was selling out in like large cities. Like that's just sauce, man. You can't teach that. You can't make that in the lab. There is a very rare company of IP that can do shit like that, and it is Star Wars, MCU, and then probably the Jurassic series, and that's like probably the end of that list. Um, Again, you could argue, why do people keep going to see these movies when a lot of the people reviewing them think they're bad? Um, I think that one, the use of practical and digital in these movies is phenomenal. Especially as they've gone on, they've gotten more impressive. Obviously, the first Jurassic Park pioneered practical effects in movies. Very famously, Steven Spielberg showed Jurassic Park early to his good buddy George Lucas, and that's what made George Lucas realize that, oh, I can make my Star Wars prequels now because the graphics, not graphics, but technology is there that I can fulfill this vision I've had for years about the origin of Darth Vader and Anakin Skywalker. So Jurassic, I mean, it changed how people make movies. It changed how people watch movies. It changed how people perceive millions of years of history. It's just what you would define as a cultural phenomenon. It just simply is. 30 years later, people can't help but be fascinated when there's new Jurassic stuff out there. Now, obviously, bigger picture, this series isn't going anywhere. This movie is going to make $1 billion. There will be another one. Now, will it end up doing more than, say, Minecraft movie? Probably. I think it's on pace to beat Minecraft. I don't know if it'll beat. Or it'll probably beat Lilo and Stitch too, maybe. I don't know. That'll be tough. Lilo and Stitch did $1 billion as well. But it's going to be up there. It's going to be in that top 2 to 3 movie of the year as far as money is concerned. And they'll probably make more of them. Is one of those franchises is massive. Now, I do want to get into. Well, last thing I want to mention: Megan versus Jurassic World. Why a movie like Megan flops while Jurassic World does well? Remember how we said they overthought Megan 2.0? They did not overthink Jurassic World Rebirth. Jurassic World Rebirth is about people who go to an island to investigate and do things with dinosaurs, and it goes wrong, and they get chased by dinosaurs, and some of them get eaten. And there's a T-Rex in it. There's Mosasaurus in it. Not a lot of raptors in this one, surprisingly. Usually raptors are like the stars of Jurassic movies, but not really here. But simply, they gave people what they wanted. They gave audiences what they're interested in seeing, which is a dinosaur thriller. This movie goes back to the horror element a lot. And at this point, I'm going to officially transition from our final news story, Greg, into our review segment.
Okay.
So I'll tee you up. I'll tee you up after this because I'm going to review it. I saw this movie twice. I took my mom to go see it because Jurassic Park is our favorite movie ever. We've watched it with each other dozens of times over my childhood. We love these movies. I took her to go see it, and I liked it. I had a good time with it. I think it's better than Dominion for sure, maybe even Fallen Kingdom as well. But what was really interesting is that they really go back to like the horror roots of Jurassic Park. Like that first movie is really scary in parts, you know. That first movie does thrilling set pieces very well. It builds tension very well. And it's something that the sequels got away from. Unfortunately, it's one of the biggest knocks on the Jurassic series that it's like they just became like popcorn action movies after the first one or two. Um, and this one is still a popcorn action movie, but there's like a real effort to create like horror set pieces in this one. Um, the opening scene, every Jurassic has like an opening where a dinosaur kills somebody. The opening to this one with the lab, you see it in the trailer where the guy's like banging on the glass and he's like, "Please get me out of here!" Like they get into the dread of it all. The scene we're seeing here in the trailer with the T Rex on the river. Fun fact is actually from the original Jurassic Park novel written by Michael Crichton.
Yeah, they cut
It's
it.
Yeah, it was omitted from Steven Spielberg's movie, much to the dismay of people who love that book. But they brought it back for this movie, and it is my favorite sequence in this whole movie. It's really well done. Um, I'm looking around in the movie theater while it's happening, and people are actively like clinching and recoiling into their seats watching that scene because it's so tense and thrilling. It's so well done. The T Rex is horrifying in that sequence. I thought it was goddamn excellent. That's that scene is specifically. I think the characters are okay. Scarlett Johansson, great. I don't mind Scarlett Jo as an actress at all. She is, I think, now the highest earning at the box office actress between all her movies. Have like her movies have made the most money, not her making the most money. But she's good in this. I do think though that I don't think she should have been the main character. So it's like her, Mahershala Ali. Those characters are both like ex-military, sort of like mercenary characters. But then you get Jonathan Bailey, who's like an actual paleontologist, and he's kind of brought along for like his scientific knowledge and all that stuff. He feels like the heart of this movie. I think he's so good in this. He is the moral compass of the movie because if you know Jurassic, a lot of these characters have to be morally deplorable. That way you feel good when they get eaten by dinosaurs and shit. But he's like the one you're rooting for. He's the one who's like giving you the quotables. He's not in it for the money or the business. He just loves these creatures and he loves science. But he's a supporting character, and it felt like he should have been the lead. And Scarlett Johansson's character should have maybe been supporting to him because she's a bit more of like the smug, mercenary asshole type coming in, and you kind of have to warm up to her. But Jonathan Bailey walks on that screen, and I'm like, I would cry if this guy got eaten. You know, like you want him to do well. So I think that maybe some script tweaks would have made this a bit of a stronger story. This movie was written by David Koepp, who, if you don't know who David Koepp is, he wrote the first Jurassic Park movie. This was his return to the franchise. Yeah. Now, don't get me wrong. Yes, Jurassic Park, I think, is one of the best written movies in the history of screenplays. But David Koepp has written some weird, bad movies. He's written a lot of good movies too, but he does not have a spotless track record. This one's definitely somewhere in the middle. Danny says, dude who directed Rogue One directed this one, right? Yeah, Gareth Edwards did Rogue One. He did 2014 Godzilla. He did The Creator, which was an original sci-fi horror movie. Yeah, he's done a lot of blockbuster films. Yeah, I think that the pacing in this has some issues. I think getting to the island takes too long. So the movie starts off and it's moving at a rapid pace. And I'm like, good, let's get through the bullshit and get to the meat. And then it like once they get to the boat, it slows down. They spend a lot of time on the journey there that I thought we could have got to the island like 10 minutes earlier than we did. By the time you get to the island, the movie's halfway over, it feels like. Or it might just actually be the case. I also think that the D Rex, and that's D as in Donovan, that's like this movie's like mutant hybrid dinosaur creature, a total wet fart of a dinosaur. uh, Obviously, Jurassic Park had the T Rex. Lost World had two T Rexes. Jurassic Park 3 had the Spinosaurus, which was controversial. I like the Spinosaurus, some people didn't. Jurassic World does the Indominus Rex, which is a fake genetic dinosaur, but I think that in that movie, they make it cool because they tell you, oh, the Indominus Rex can camouflage because it's got the DNA of a tree frog. It's got the DNA of a raptor as well, so it's smart enough to claw out its tracking chip so we don't know where this thing is anymore. Like, they hype that one up and make it feel like this visceral, destructive force of nature. The Lost World, or no, Fallen Kingdom had the Indoraptor, which was like a that like weird scaly raptor creature they had that had some good set pieces. That one was kind of fine. Dominion had a million dinosaurs and flying cockroaches and stuff. And then this movie has the D-Rex, which has the head of what looks like a beluga whale. It's got like 6 arms. Um, it's just not that intimidating. It just looks weird. Yeah, it looks like if a child drew a dinosaur and then like a professional artist had to make it into a real thing. And it's just like it looks kind of stupid. And then the movie doesn't really build it up. You see it early on, and then not again until the end of the movie. There's no like you don't go to like a site where there's a bunch of like ripped up clothing from a camp that it tore through, you know. You just don't even hear about it until the end of the movie. It's like it's just gone and it just shows up. Which that I thought was whack. I was like, you gotta like make me give a shit of why this dinosaur exists and why I should be afraid of it. Um, so I say those were my two key issues with it was some character stuff and then the big monster was a letdown. But I thought that the set pieces, the horror of it all, the pacing, a lot of that was very good.
I feel like the thing you said about the main character should have been swapped is like is been like a trend in like other movies as well. Because I remember when the new movie Star Wars came out, people thought Finn was going to be the main character. Then it kind of did like a 180. They're like, oh no, it's Rey. Star Wars is the main character, and then people are like, wait, but we like Finn. Finn is more interesting. Finn has.
I like Rey too. Goddammit, Rey's awesome.
Rey's fine.
Rey's a great.
It was that
Rey's
weird
great.
thing, right? Where
They're
like,
both great.
they weren't sure
They
who
should have
the
been
main
co-leads.
character was, right? Like we weren't like, oh, it's going to be Finn. Oh no, it's going to be Rey. And then like it became Rey, I think, in the second movie, like which was weird. Like it was, you know what I mean? Because
the simple solution to that was that Disney was never going to build and market the Star Wars franchise on a black protagonist for 3 movies. They just weren't going to do that. They had too much money to make overseas. Too many foreign countries don't love seeing black people in posters. That's why they took Finn off the, I think it was the Chinese release.
Yeah, the Chinese poster, they photoshopped him out.
They just weren't going to do that. It was much safer to go with the British white woman as the main character. Don't get me wrong, I love Daisy Ridley. I love Rey. I have a Rey T-shirt, but it was very clearly a strategic choice to not bank what is arguably the most valuable franchise in the history of movies on a black man, a dark-skinned black man. They did not want to do that, and they didn't, and it was shitty. They were wrong for it. The promotional material for that first movie hyped him up to be a protagonist. I think they should have been co-leads. I'm not somebody who thinks Rey should have been less involved in those movies. I love her, but I think they should have been a protagonist, a protagonist be, but they definitely became her movies. And with this movie, I guess you could argue in the case of Jurassic World Rebirth, it's more so just Scarlett Johansson's going to be the lead in any movie she's in at this point because I think she's got to be the biggest actress in the world. I guess who'd you put up there, like Margot Robbie maybe? But she's just too big of an actress to not bank all your money on. I get it. She's great. I love it. You know, it was great in the MCU. She's done so many awesome movies. But I do think that her character was like not a great protagonist, not somebody I was excited to cheer for. She was a bit of an asshole early on, and obviously they set her up for a character arc that doesn't feel entirely deserved. But I like Jonathan Bailey's character. He felt like the closest approximation to an Alan Grant, you know, where you watch the first Jurassic Park and before they even get to the island, Alan Grant cares so much about history and paleontology and dinosaurs and preservation. And that all comes through, I think, in Jonathan Bailey's character. But yeah, I think he should have been the lead. And hey, you know, to do a sequel, make him the lead.
That's also like a theme in like the past like movies that we've seen where like there's a character you're supposed to like but she does stupid things or says annoying things that make you not like the character. You know, like Scarlett Johansson, right? The Moon movie we stopped watching that because like we don't like the main character. She's a liar and manipulative.
Why to the moon?
It's supposed to be like
oh, that's another ScarJo.
Right, like but like you're saying, like the character's supposed to be like a cute quirk, and they're supposed to be like show like initiative, or it's supposed to be like they're tough, but it's just like you come off as not liking them. Like, and it seems like the same problem happened in this movie. They're trying to make her like quippy or like interesting or like edgy, and she comes out as off as an asshole. The character, not the actors. The character comes off as an asshole. Yeah. So you're like, I hope you get eaten. You know, like we hoping Scarlett got eaten at any point. Scarlett's character got eaten in the movie at all.
Look, I didn't hate her enough to want her to get eaten, but she just wasn't my favorite character.
Okay.
For her to be the protagonist, she just wasn't my favorite. She was like my third favorite. I liked Jonathan Bailey, then Mahershala Ali, and then her. I just felt like if you're going to be the main character, get the most screen time, get the most narrative focus. For you to be the third most interesting character is bad.
So what happened to all their guns in this movie? How did they lose all their guns?
They've got guns.
Do they use
they've
them?
Got guns. They do when they've got them. They do. I mean, they're on a boat. Also, Greg, I rewatch all the Jurassic movies. You were just wrong about that. The Lost World, they send a military to that island, and they've got like assault rifles halfway through that movie, and
No,
they're running
right, but
around
you never
shooting at
see a
raptors.
dinosaur get shot and killed by a gun, a tranquilizer, but never a gun. I don't think in any of the movies they're ever killed with a gun.
I mean, they're shooting at raptors. They're one outnumbered and outsmarted. You're shooting at them, and they're landing at you from the top. How do you shoot a pterodactyl that's descending on you vertically?
No, I'm saying that. No, it's been. I think it's a combination of people don't want to see dinosaurs getting shot, and plus, if you have an arsenal, like it's not a horror movie anymore, right? Like if you come to a thing
Well,
you
they're
have
not.
weapons, you're not gonna get a T-Rex is gonna get killed 2,000 feet from you from a rifle, right? Then there's no tension, so there's no movie. I get that.
They are mercenaries. They have weapons. Do you know what happens when you shoot at a Spinosaurus, like a gun at a Spinosaurus? The bullet just hit it, and it keeps swimming through the ocean. But yeah, they've got them. They've got them in here. They are mercenaries, except for Jonathan Bailey's character. He's a paleontologist. Also, this is a covert mission. It's funny. They do mention early on, he's like, why don't you just send an army? But this is like a secret sort of mission thing that's happening in this movie. But overall, I don't want to take up too much time because we got 30 minutes here till we got to go.
It's a big movie. It's probably the biggest, obviously one of the third biggest movies of the year, right? Minecraft, this movie, and Superman, 3 big movies.
Yeah, I would agree. I thought it was good, and I'm glad that I liked it. I enjoyed it. I would recommend it to people who like the other Jurassic movies. Now, Greg, I'm gonna hit the ping pong ball over to your side because you watched a laundry list of projects over the course of your vacation. Where would you like to start?
Yeah, but all of it's, I think most of it's old. Winchester
Yeah,
is
you did
old.
some catching up.
Bodies is old. Extract is old. Mythic Quest is old. Did we review Sinners on this show yet?
I
talk about it?
I did. I believe Danny jumped in here to chat Sinners with me when it came out.
Oh, that's right, he did. That's right, he did. Yeah.
But it's one of the biggest movies of the year. What'd you think, Greg?
I liked it. I think it was a little slow to get to the vampires, but like other than that's my only critique. It's shot beautifully. It's written beautifully. Mm-hmm. It's a great movie, fantastic movie. I love the take on the vampires is super interesting. You know, like it's one of those things you take the tropes and how can you switch it, right? How can you make it slightly different? And the director and writer do that in like spades. They do it really good,
Ryan Coogler, baby.
Ryan Coogler, yeah, they do a really good job of that. Really good job.
Yeah.
I really did enjoy it. It's like it's almost like a return to movies, really. Like because all the action's at the very end, but I like that though because you build up all the action to the very end, right? You're not immune to it by the second act because they've had 3 chase scenes. You know what I mean already. And you're building these characters up because you want to care about them when they die. Like it was great. It was really well done. I really enjoyed it.
Sinners is one of those movies that you walk out and you're like, God damn, that's what the movies are all about, baby. It's great. Ryan Coogler, I think, wrote and directed the shit out of that movie. I think it's got really few issues, honestly, with it. Michael B. Jordan is phenomenal. The whole supporting cast in it is great. Danny jumps and say Michael B. Jordan playing 2 different characters the entire time was something special. By the end of that movie, you almost think you're watching 2 different actors. He's that good in Sinners. But everyone's great in there. Miles Caton, who plays the younger dude, preacher boy, and there Haley Steinfeld, of course, Shaq O'Connell, vampire. Wunmi Masaku is great in there. Delroy Lindo, who's a Delta Slim, is so funny. I thought the movie was hilarious. Like you said, the build up to it. It does take a while to get to the vampire stuff, but to me, I think it's a good build up. Enough like clues and stuff dropped in. I think it's great from beginning to end. It's the kind of movie that like in 10 years, if you're teaching film classes, depending on the subject, that's the kind of movie you tell your students to go watch because it is a great one. So good.
I wanted to wait. I was hoping we'd see more of the Native American like vampire hunters. Like I was hoping they'd come back in.
That's what a lot of
I was like, wait, that's so cool. Like, can we explore there? Like have them come in and that. I thought we were gonna exhibition from them. But that's like the stupid minor thing, right? But like that's a cool thing. People explore that and like oh cool, they're vampire hunters. And they're Native American. That's kind of fucking rad. No, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the lore too. Like I think like I said, vampires are one of those things that's open to your interpretation. So like the garlic stuff still works. Have to be invited still works. However, there's an alpha vampire that controls all the other vampires. Like you just lose. You just become a thrall if he bites you, even if he kills you.
I mean the scene where they all take a bite of garlic to test and make sure no one's a vampire. And then Delroy Lindo's character starts like choking and coughing, and they're all like staring at him. Like, not sure if he's like a vampire, if he's just like having an episode. He's like just coughing. It's so funny. Um, yeah, you're right. When the movie came out, I remember a lot of people were like, "Give me a spin-off or a TV show about the Native American vampire
Right,
hunters. They
yeah,
seem
that's
cool."
cool. Super cool.
Yeah, but that's world building, right? That's lore and
Yeah.
world building, where it's like that they just drop that in there, and it's like obviously that's part of a bigger story and a greater universe. But Ryan Coogler didn't feel the need to give you 20 minutes talking about that. It's just maybe he'll explore in a sequel, or there'll be another entry in that universe one day. But yeah, I thought it was
Yeah,
quite
no,
excellent.
it's better to have you wanting more than having too much exposition or too much of something, right? Like if you left the theater being like, I want to see more of that, that's good. That's a good you've accomplished it, right? So no,
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. And like again, it's shot beautifully as well. There were like some scenes
Mhm.
like I was having trouble. I was trying to pick up the practical sets from some green screen effect work, and I could really it was hard for me to tell. I think the train wasn't real. I don't think the train was real, but they were on location. And I think they green screened up like a panel and had the thing. I don't have.
Yeah.
I'm done plugging. I'm plugging in my mic every 3 seconds. So I'm just gonna leave it off and on my mic, my
I was
camera.
gonna say I think Greg's given up on his camera for the show.
And I'm just going to check it out afterwards. But yeah, no, I really did enjoy it. Highly recommended. Really happy I watched it. I was waiting for it to come to either streaming or renting before I could, because when they have a hit, Warner Brothers, they really need hits. Like it stays in the theater for so long before it hits anywhere.
Because people want to see it in theaters. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, when a movie does well, they keep it in theaters. Because why would you take it
Yeah.
out if people keep going to see it? People kept seeing Sinners. They extended its run. They brought it back to IMAX because there was a demand to go see the movie in theaters. Which again goes back to the Megan Jurassic World conversation that it's like, yeah, theater industry is on the downturn and like less people see movies than ever. But like, if you put out a movie that is excellent and interesting, people will go out in droves to see it. People will demand to see it. My mom, my 52-year-old mom, was texting me asking me where's our nearest IMAX theater so she could go see Sinners in the best theater possible. So it's still embedded in our culture. It's just about the right movies coming along. Also, we just learned this fun fact since you're reviewing Sinners. And this came out. The costume designer, I believe, said this in an interview last week that some of the costumes in this movie were originally made for the new Blade movie that Marvel has been working on since 2019 that they can't fucking figure out, that they keep restarting the script and hiring new writers, that's supposed to star Mahershala Ali, that has been stalled for so long that Disney just sold costumes made for that movie to Warner Brothers for Sinners, which it's just insane fumble by Disney because you just had your lunch eaten for the black period piece vampire movie. Yeah. Oh, Danny said he has Blu-ray today. I gotta order that. I gotta get that Blu-ray ASAP. I saw the steelbook for it. Looks really cool. But I thought that was a fascinating Easter egg. But Sinners, baby, so good. Good movie. Craig, I can jump into my next review here.
Yeah, go for it.
You're gonna love this one. Squid Game season 3 has concluded,
boy.
baby. It's over. It's done. The show's done. They finished it. Season 3, the final season of Squid Game, is out and over. The story of Ji-hun, Song Ji-hun, has come to a close. And I will say, I thought the final season of Squid Game was fine. I thought it was like, okay. Like, okay, so on the Shacknews review scale, a 6 out of 10 means okay. I'd probably say like a 6 for a Squid Game season. There may be a 6.5. I don't know if you remember, Greg, when season 2 came out, I think it was last year, beginning of this year, I said, you know what? I was like everybody cynical about more Squid Game, but I thought season 2 was like better than I expected. It was like a 7.5. I was like, you know what? They made it interesting. You could argue if it should exist or not, but the show itself is interesting. I thought there was some interesting narrative stuff. And then they like split it in half. Like season 2 ends on like essentially a cliffhanger. Like we're still in the middle of the story arc. And I didn't like that because it made season 2 and 3 feel like a broken up, fragmented story, which I hate when shows and movies do that. And I think at this point, between seasons 1, 2, and 3, we've got like a constant decline in quality, right? Like season 1, I think of Squid Game is like a 9 at minimum, maybe a 9.5, 10 territory TV show. I think it's phenomenal. Season 2, I think, is like good, not great, but probably better than I thought it was going to be. And then season 3 is just like fine, okay, and it's good that we're ending here. And like, there's not any more of this kind of going on. I think that I'll start with some of the good. I think what they do right with season 3 of a Squid Game is I think that we keep the character of Song Ji-hun is still so strong and so compelling. He's still so easy to root for. He is such a like classic good guy protagonist. Where just in every scene, you know he's gonna figure this one out. You feel so bad for him when like tragedy befalls him. He is like the heart of that show, and you do root for him. He is still like a great protagonist and like a good like moral compass for the whole show. I think because everybody around him is just like bloodthirsty animals essentially. Um, so he's great. Him and his performance, no complaints whatsoever. Um, I think that one of the things I praised season 2 for was that like now that we're back in the games, actually a lot of interesting characters. Season 2 introduces a transgender woman. There's a mother and her son who are in the games. There's a pregnant woman. There's a rapper. They give a lot of like very interesting characters that are very like offbeat compared to season 1. And I was like, okay, because I thought you could have easily just redid all the tropes of season 1, but they brought in some like interesting characters that added unique dynamics. And the way a lot of those characters' fates are handled in season 3 is like, bloop, oh well, we didn't really, they had to leave the show somehow. Whereas season 1, it feels like there's a lot more emotional depth and punch to every character's death. Obviously, season 1, Song Ji-hun wins the Squid Game in the original show. But in season 3, it does feel like a lot of anticlimactic endings to most characters' arcs. Not all, but most. So the supporting cast I thought was a lot weaker in season 3. All the stuff not on the island was a lot weaker in season 3. We're still doing the detective storyline, which is like really just treading water by the end of that season, where it's like we're crawling to the finish line here. And then, of course, there's the ending. There's the very final true ending, the last episode, which became source of much controversy. I had it spoiled for me the day the show came out because people on Twitter can't shut the fuck up about anything ever. Um, but there's a revelation at the end of Squid Game season 3 that I won't spoil because I got annoyed when Twitter spoiled it for me. That is very easy to be cynical about and easy to read into and be like, of course, this is like the big studio ending. This is the most Netflix ending ever. And I agree with that to an extent. I think the ending's fine. I didn't hate it. I didn't love it either. I was like, sure. It could have been worse. I think there's so many TV shows with god awful endings at this point that this one having an okay ending feels like an accomplishment. But yeah, I think Squid Game season 3 was just fine. I think it's good that it's ending here. Um and yeah, and you know what? The one good thing I'll say, good for the creator, good for the guy who made this. He shopped this idea around for a decade, I believe. Nobody gave a shit. Netflix, in all their wisdom, greenlit it. He made just a little bit of money on season 1, came back for season 2, got a boatload of money, and then did season 3, and presumably also got a boatload of money for that.
They got all, and
so
most
good.
of the highest paid people on that project got a boatload of money.
So good. You created an original idea and you made the biggest Netflix original ever. It's bigger than fucking Stranger Things. So good for you. I think that a creative guy who bet on himself and spent many of years shopping around an idea, he deserves to become whatever multimillionaire he is now off this idea. Good for him. I don't know what the hell's going to come of this IP in the future. There's word that David Fincher, of all fucking people, is making like an American version of Squid Game. God knows what that'll be like. But good for the gentleman who created Squid Game is one of my takeaways from it. And decent show overall. But yeah, season 3 was the worst of the 3 seasons, definitely, but not terrible, I'd say.
It's I've said this before about when the second season was released. It's because I feel it's important to say, because this is what the show's for, is so I can stand on my soapbox and say things. It's really rare when something's released, whether it's a TV show, a book, a movie, that is like well written, well shot, emotionally impactful, like quite frankly a masterpiece, has a message. Like it's so rare that you get projects, let's call them projects like this. They come along, they're not gone all the time, but it's incredibly rare. But when the second season and third season were announced and they were doing crossovers with Call of Duty, I was just like, what the fuck are we doing? Like, you know what I mean?
Fortnite.
Like the first season was it was beautiful show. Like, I mean, a masterpiece. It's beautiful. And then like,
yeah,
you lose all of it. Like it goes in the trash. You lose, the first one will always be beautiful, but then like, I feel like you stain everything with more of it. And I get people wanted more and there was bigger story to tell. I understand that concept, but the combination of it being marketed around like a fucking Marvel movie and the crossovers that were in completely and utterly just bad taste. And then on top of that, like this isn't a besmirch on the actor. It's just a notice. You know, he goes on, he does his interviews now. He's a big actor. He's getting paid millions of dollars. He wears $1 million watch. I'm not saying it's reflective, but saying like that was all that was the point of the first season was that we're run by.
You don't know how much his
capitalism.
watch costs.
It says $1 million. I googled it.
He probably got a discount though. Rich people get shit for free all the time.
And that could have been the case, but like I feel like stuff like that. The first season was so money's not everything. You know, people are dying for money. Do you see how this has happened? And then stuff like that and the crossovers and everything just felt like wow, you just lost. I mean, Schindler's List.
It became a franchise.
Yes, like there's a reason you don't have 3 Schindler's List movies, and there's a reason why Oscar Schindler.
Well, that's because the Holocaust actually happened. This is a fictional
but like
story.
you know what I'm saying, though, right? There's a reason why his skin's not in Call of Duty. Like, what the fuck? What are you doing? Like, like it was just I don't know. I feel like just the first season's so beautiful and just perfect in every conceivable way. A perfect message, a perfect story. And then anything after that, you're just smidging it. And you're just it's capitalism. We have to have more of it. We have to make more money. We have to capitalize on it. And which defeats the whole purpose of the first season's message. So I just feel like I feel disgusted.
It's the state of it's the state of pop culture and entertainment at this point, where it's like it's a franchise. That's all. It became a franchise. The end of the day, the simple fact of the matter is, you can like it or not. Clearly, you don't like it, but you are not going to make a thing that generates hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue, and then be like, I ain't never touching that again, never doing that again. They're just not. No one is. No. Every time a studio makes something that is a smash success, that trends on Twitter, that people sign their parents up for accounts and pay money to watch, they're going to do it again. They're never going to look at that and be like, well, we shouldn't do any more of that. They're just not, you know? If you make a show that generates $500 million revenue, you're going to get a Fortnite skin. You just are. You are, because it's going to generate even more money. That you are. I mean, sure, Ted Sarandos, Netflix CEO, could have like went up to the podium and been like, it would not be in the spirit of the Squid Game for us to monetize this IP further. Thank you all for participating. But his ass would have got fired, and he would have been looking for a new job, and they would have been like, you're an idiot, and the worst executive in North America. It is cynical, but it's just the reality of how business works in modern age, especially entertainment. Your job is to.
I feel like there was a hot minute like Spielberg wouldn't like. There was a minute there where Spielberg was like, I did Jaws 1, I'm not doing Jaws 2, right? So I feel like that was something that used to be that way decades ago. He's just one specific example, right? But I feel like
that's because the stuff wasn't making that money back then. It was. I mean, Jaws. Don't get me wrong. Jaws made a lot of money, but it wasn't like the modern day where it's so much gratification and there's so many avenues. There was no Fortnite for Jaws to collaborate with in 1975. You know, It's like it was like you did your money at the box office, and then you did your money on VHS, and the sequel would do money at the box office, and the sequel would do money on VHS, and you get merchandise sales. We won a Jaws T-shirt, but now it's a Netflix subscription. It's the T-shirts. It's the merchandise. It's the spin-off show. It's the Call of Duty tie-in. The certificate. There's so many more ways to monetize it now. It's just a different landscape. It exists differently. If we had the internet and culture was what it was in the 80s and 70s, or now in the 70s and 80s, you probably would have gotten to Jaws 10 or whatever the fuck, and there would have been a Bruce Fortnite glider when you jumped out of the battle bus. But things have just changed. Things have changed.
No, you're absolutely right.
Things have changed. But there goes Squid Game season 3. Greg, what do you should review something. We got 11 minutes.
I mean, all this stuff is old. Mythic Quest is old. Extract is really old. That's a Mike Judge movie. Bodies, Winchester. I can talk about Bodies a little bit. You saw that. You reviewed it on the show.
Movie?
You reviewed it on the show.
I did. I saw that and reviewed it here. Yeah.
I enjoyed it. The ending was a good twist.
Oh.
It's a good spin on like the psychological, like human perspective of things, right? And how it's it's very good. Nicole was like, going like, oh, this is so, everyone's being so honest. This is so good for everybody. Everything's getting off their chest. Like,
dude. Still one of my favorite movie scenes of the decade so far is when they're arguing. It's Rachel Sennett's character. I think her name's Abigail in Bodies. I could be incorrect. It's when everything's falling apart and they're arguing about like money and like society, like where their parents are. And she's talking about how like her Google Calendar and everything. And then one girl's talking about struggling, and she's like, "Your parents are upper middle class," and they just start yelling at each other, and they like start fighting and shit. It's so good. Um, she's like, "Let her have the fucking Google Calendar. So what? It's not hurting anybody." Great. Pete Davidson really funny in this movie. Um, Obviously, we could say the twist being that like there is no serial killer. It's
Yeah,
just
just an
all of
accident.
them. They're a combination of stupidity and panic leading to them dying and injuring themselves one by one over the course of like this stormy evening. It's such a funny twist. Uh, it's good. And you know what I think is really special about Bodies, Bodies, Bodies? Is that it's the rare movie that accurately depicts Gen Z in the younger generation. So many of these movies are like doing like spoofs of it, and it's like, oh, they're all stupid iPad kids, and it's like a lot of them only come at it from one angle. But I think this Bodies, Bodies, Bodies does get a lot of the nuances. Obviously, they're all played up, and it's like a hyper surrealized version of Gen Z. But a lot of it is like accurate. That's what they talk about. I mean, hell, the fact that fucking Pete Davidson cuts his own throat trying to do a cool dance so he looks cool on TikTok. Um, I thought was funny. The music is good. The vibe, the cast makes this movie. I would argue because it really is just a bunch of mostly women in a dark mansion screaming and yelling at each other for the better part of 90 minutes. But
Oh,
yeah,
shot
this
well
is a fun
too.
movie.
Shot well too. The way it's shot, and even the house is big, but like even the way it's shot, like you feel like you're in a maze consistently, which is it's kind of cool. Like it's shot, very shot smartly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I dug it. It's good. I'm glad you liked it. Honestly, when you sent me this, I was like, "Oh, Greg, this is not a Greg movie. I didn't think
Oh
you were
no,
gonna
I
like
did
this."
enjoy it. Yeah, I thought it was a cool twist. That's the second they said it's not my phone. He
Mhm.
stepped into frame. I'm like, oh my god, he killed himself. That's what I said. Like every he killed himself. Yeah, no, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. Yeah, and it's 820. I was shocked to see that it was 824. I didn't realize that when I started watching. I'm like, oh, it's
Oh yeah,
824. So it's either gonna be really good or really forgettable, right? Because that's their thing. They either swing and they hit like a home run, or they get like a grounder to like first base and get out. So, but no, I
yeah.
liked it. I mean,
Whoa, wait a minute, everybody, hold on. Everybody, did anyone just all pick up on that? Greg just made a baseball reference. What the hell? He just made an accurate, appropriate sports reference. That was like to give you another sports reference. That was out of left field. That just came out of nowhere.
oh yeah, yeah,
I
the
did,
left field, yeah. No,
Greg,
I
Greg,
liked it.
Greg
I
showing
enjoyed
some
it. Yeah.
knowledge there. Yeah. It's funny you mentioned A24 and being like they're so hit or miss because the director of this movie, I like this movie so much that it actually put this director on my map, Helena Rain. She actually did another movie for A24 last year. It was her follow-up to Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. It was called Baby Girl, starring Nicole Kidman. I might have reviewed it on this show. Didn't like it. That movie was not good.
Yeah, it's tough, man. Making movies tough. You know what I mean? Like it's somebody's vision, and
It's
sometimes
hard
things
making
don't
good
line up. Yeah.
movies. It's really hard making good movies, man. A lot easier to make a bad movie. Um, so I got hair on my phone. I'm trying to look at my letterbox to see what I watched recently.
Oh, I
Um,
saw Winchester. It just as a quick thing, because we went to the Winchester Mystery House,
Winchester.
which is
Oh,
like
the
this.
house.
We went to the house, and they made a movie several years ago, a
They
horror
did.
movie
They got a
about
lot
it.
of stuff about this place.
Yeah, if I ever teach a film class and we're studying the horror genre, I will show them this movie to be like, here's how you probably shouldn't do horror.
I knew it. I knew it.
Don't do it like this. I mean, there's the story's really solid. It's a really good story, but like it's just jump scares. Like that's all they do is just jump scare, jump scare, jump scare. Like the only like you know what I mean. Like there's no tension. You know what I mean. There's no build up. There's a great twist at the end of it, which is like you don't really see coming. But like it was underplayed. So like it's a twist. You're like, oh, instead of going, oh my god, that blows my mind. You're like, oh, that's interesting because it could have been a blow your mind moment, but they're too busy having stuff walk in front of the screen playing like a string note so you jump out of your seat, you know what I mean, instead of focusing on the horror aspect, you know.
I'm
Jump
sorry. Is
scare.
that Dame Helen Mirren in this movie?
I think so. It's like one of the big
I think that's Helen Mirren. I'm sorry. I'll be honest. When you put this movie up, I was like, oh, this is some like random bullshit that came out on like fucking like Tubi or Squeamy. But this is a Helen Mirren movie. Interesting. I've never heard of this movie, Greg.
it's an interesting story because it ties into the history of the house, and all like and like you know it's all make believe though. It's all not real, right? This is not why the house was built. They just took some of the ideas and rolled with it. Yeah, I
Sure.
mean like it was interesting story executed poorly in the horror because everything was just jump scare and like I don't think tension is something they could have done better with, building tension, seeing what's not there is scarier than seen. You know what I mean? That kind of stuff. But it's ruined by just jump scares. They do way too many damn jump scares in this. This is really obnoxious. Because if you're watching any movie, regardless of the genre, and you play a loud note and something jumps on the screen, you're going to jump. Like it's not. I mean, like your sensories are gonna flare up.
Human reaction.
Yeah, that's where it fails. Interesting concept though. You could probably skip it, but interesting concept. If you're interested about the history of the house, which we saw recently, which was like, oh, they made a movie, you should watch this, so we watched it. Interesting concept, but meh. Sorry, you were looking at Letterboxd. That's an old movie too.
No, you're fine. I mean, I don't really have much else. I'm interested in that concept. I mean, it sounded like an interesting kind of movie. It just didn't really all come together. I think my mom has been to the Winchester house, maybe like when she was younger, and she went to it.
Super cool house. Damn shame that it's surrounded just by like a luxury apartment condos and business centers. You're just like, oh god. Like, you know, you see a picture of it in 1908 or 1889 or whatever, and you're like, oh wow, look at all the space, looks beautiful. Fucking, and there was like this luxury condo that had a bar outside. There was just blasting music the entire time we were there. We're like, wow, nothing. We are a plague. Like that's like watching the music. Like we're a plague on this earth. This condominium just blasting music as we're trying to take this tour through this house. It was gross. But
right.
Yeah.
Well, they don't give a shit. It's not their property, not their damn house.
Exactly. Yeah.
Not their murder house. They kill people there, Greg. Real people. Well, there you have it. What'd you think of Mythic Quest?
It's okay. We work in the gaming industry technically, so like there's a lot of nuances that
technically we do.
I can appreciate more than other people, and like they do all that funny stuff, but I feel like it's a show that would benefit more if it's shot in the Office style and not as like a regular TV show.
I thought that's what they were doing.
No, it's shot like it's not like a documentary. Like it's shot. The characters are interesting and funny. There's Ashley Birch is in it, and I was like, oh, this is gonna be great. She's not funny at all. I'm only like 2 or 3 episodes in, but like I haven't laughed at anything she's done. And she's a talented writer and an actress, and she's funny and she's got good comedic timing, and she's not being funny in this movie at all, which is really weird. Which is weird. But that's my only criticism. It's just funny. It parodies Bill Gates, and I think it makes fun of John Romero and Tim Willits and all these like big video game people because they make an MMO, and it's the biggest MMO in the world. And what's funny, Donovan, is they use real footage from like For Honor a lot. They use a lot of Ubisoft footage for their game.
That's right. It's a Ubisoft joint. Yeah, it's like their show. It's a Ubisoft thing.
So I didn't know that. So I was like, oh, that's For Honor. Oh, they have Assassin's Creed. So they're always cutting in like little bits. But we'll have to see if it goes. I've only seen 3 episodes, but it's kind of clever. It's funny. It hams up the stereotypes of like creative director and writer and executive producer and UI programmer and Q&A. So it's kind of fun to see that. I think it would have benefited so much if it was shot like The Office. I was like, man, if this was shot like The Office, you'd have gold. But instead, it's shot like a what's it called? Everything's Sunny in Philadelphia. Just kind of standard TV show.
Yeah, I've heard mixed things about Mythic Quest. I hear it's very good early on. I know it just ended, didn't it? Or they just announced it's ending. I think the final season just came out.
Plus thing, right? That's the.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah,
I think it just wrapped up its entire run. Yeah, I hear that we'd have a particular interest in it, but interesting.
We'll watch more and see if it gets better, but.
Well, Greg, with that, I think it's time for us to say our farewells. Because it's time for me to jump in and watch a PlayStation State of Play, baby. Be sure to tune into Shacknews.com if you want news about Ghost of Yotei. But until then, everybody, that has been episode 166 of Pop Goes the Culture. Thank you for tuning in so much again. Hit all the socials, hit the Discord, hit YouTube, follow us all over the place. We will see you, not next week. It'll be a while till we see you again, probably the following week because I'll be on assignment. But until then, I'm Donovan Erskine. That is Greg Burke's avatar on Discord, and we will find you all in a couple of weeks.